Well, TSA workers in Atlanta and across the country have now missed one full paycheck, leading to staffing shortages, with some needing to call out to take second jobs. Democrats in Congress want Republicans to agree to changes on how immigration officers operate following 2 fatal shootings of U.S. citizens in Minnesota before approving the Department of Homeland Security budget. As WABE's Marlon Hyde told us, this all happened while recent severe weather led to scores of flight cancellations earlier this week.
Jamaica Long was trying to get back home to Cleveland when she realized the security line at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport was 2 hours long.
I had to go from all the way down there around the corner to all the way down there and then do a maze all the way around there. I came to the acceptance like, yeah, I ain't gonna make this flight.
She then faced another long line at the counter to rebook her flight. Nearby, 18-year-old Noya Caspin is sitting on the floor with her head leaned up against a wall. She's a student at North Carolina State, heading to Mexico for spring break with friends. But then bad weather derailed their plans.
We were supposed to have a short layover here, and then our second flight got canceled, so now we're stuck in a new place that we don't really know.
Airlines say the stakes are high as they expect more than 170 million passengers this spring. At a press conference outside Atlanta's airport, Aaron Barker, the president of the local union that represents TSA workers, said working without pay is not sustainable.
Many are coping with eviction notices, vehicle repossessions, empty refrigerators, and overdrawn bank accounts. Every available financial option has been exhausted.
His union wants Congress to separate funding for TSA from other Department of Homeland Security offices, including ICE. Barker says without action, staffing challenges will rise and passenger wait times will increase. Marlon Hyde, WABE News.
I be seeing people out here, usually you just put it in there and you just, chill out for a few minutes and then it let us do its thing. But when you broke, you can't do all that. You got to be watching this motherfucker because, you got to pull it at the right time. Yep, that's it. We good. You don't get to the crib.
The war in Iran is far-reaching, even extending to drivers for DoorDash and Uber Eats. They are paying more for gas, and they're getting squeezed by tight competition. So, DoorDash has announced that it's rolling out relief efforts for drivers because of the high gas prices. NPR's Bill Chappell reports.
In a driveway on Detroit's west side, Lee Dahl is starting his day as a food delivery driver.
I'm hopping in the car, starting up right now.
He fires up the Uber Eats app, and an offer comes in.
$7 for a total of 12 miles and estimated 34 minutes. You really can't make that happen.
The next offer is a run to Popeyes. Dahl knows the restaurant's usually fast, and it's only 9 miles away.
I can make $16, do it in 35, 40 minutes. I'm starting out of the gate good.
Dahl uses a spreadsheet to track how much he makes every hour and every mile in his Hyundai Sonata. But the U.S. and Israeli war on Iran is changing that math. Last month, the national average for a gallon of gas was under $3. Now it's closer to $4.
It's like a death from 1,000 cuts.
That's Kevin Huppe, a Canadian who also delivers for multiple food apps on Vancouver Island. A bit of relief came on Monday when DoorDash said it will offer drivers 10% cash back on gas costs through late April. Dahl says it'll be like getting paid for another couple of deliveries a week, but he and Huppe say that high gas prices have forced them to make changes.
I'm getting really picky about the orders I'm going to take.
For Huppe, who's retired, this gig work's optional. But Dahl, who's 65, needs to supplement his Social Security, so he changed his tactics to focus on short deliveries and maximize the app's incentive payments. And it worked. His hourly rate has gone up to well over $20 an hour. Customer demand for food delivery is high, but in recent years, delivery apps have lowered drivers' base pay to as little as $2 per order. Ryan Green is the CEO of the gig worker analytics firm Gridwise. He says about half of what a driver earns from a delivery comes from tips.
A lot of people don't realize the impact on the worker if you do not tip.
Dahl says drivers sometimes grumble about customers, but he likes the idea of bringing a coffee and a bagel to somebody who wants it.
The customers are our friends. They're not our enemies. If it wasn't for the customers, I wouldn't be doing this.
And because of his new strategy, he can keep doing it, at least for now. Bill Chappell, NPR News.
Looking for a new job? Today I'm talking about scams to watch out for, how to ask a new job for a better salary, plus tips for recent college graduates. It's all coming up next. Welcome to Your Money. I'm your host, Gordon Severson. Sooner or later, it happens to everyone. You're searching for a new job, writing a cover letter, touching up your resume, and practicing your interview questions. It's a lot, but the jobs are out there. And today I talked to an expert with some tips to help you find satisfying and successful employment. During the COVID pandemic, a lot of companies and workers shifted to working from home. It certainly changed the working world. Now more people are looking for those work-from-home jobs. But that means scammers are trying to take advantage of many people's perfect jobs. This story from Charlotte has more details on what to watch out for.
It would be great to be doing this on my couch in my PJs, but like many of us, I have to come into the office and present these verifies to you in the studio. But there are plenty of work from home jobs out there. You just need to make sure they are real. So to help us get the facts, we went to Tom Bartholomew, president of the Better Business Bureau here in Charlotte, and the Federal Trade Commission. A Pew Research study found this year 35% of workers are remote. To find these jobs, many people take to websites that showcase job openings, but some open positions are just too good to be true.
Unfortunately, that's really opened a door for scammers to take advantage of those situations at the same time.
Bartholomew says it starts like any job posting. You apply, go through interviews, get the job, and that's where it all starts.
The next thing you know, you're saying, okay, part of the hiring process, we need to get your tax information, so we need your Social Security number.
The Federal Trade Commission says nannies, caregivers, virtual personal assistants, and mystery shoppers are just some of the job listing scammers like to put out there. The best thing to do to make sure a job listing is real, do your research.
2 minutes of research. That's really all it takes to find that company name that they're claiming to be a part of and do some research on that. Do a BBB search, do a Google search, and put /scam.
There are also government websites that post legitimate job listings. USAjobs.com, Career One Stop, and USA.gov are all sites to check out. Have you ever heard of the mommy tax? It's when working mothers earn less than their male counterparts, and sometimes even less than other women who aren't mothers. A 2022 study from the Pew Research Center showed women earned around 82 cents for every dollar earned by men. This is the story of one mother who got tired of this mommy tax and created a solution.
The responsibility of managing kids largely falls, as we all know, to the mothers.
In a recent survey of 10,000 American mothers by the parenting online platform Motherly, it found in 2022, 18% of moms changed jobs or left the workforce. Of that number, 28% said they wanted to be home with their kids, but 15% decided to stay home due to a lack of childcare options. It's a position Carlene Haylett found herself in 2020.
I spent the first 11 years of my son's life trying to build this core of care that my son needed. And I joke and I say, a strong wind and the entire thing came crumbling down.
After working in the technology sector for 25 years, Haylett says she had enough of the pitfalls of the mommy tax, including the impediment to professional growth and financial ramifications. That's where Enrich HQ, a platform she founded in 2020, comes in.
I needed a solution. Every parent I know needed a solution, and decided to found this company that brings together programs for kids.
Enrich HQ takes out a lot of the work for parents when looking for activities for school-age children.
Our platform brings together an exclusive ecosystem of activity partners and does all of the work for vetting these companies for things like teacher certifications, childcare, safety regulation compliance, things that take the onus off of the parents.
The company helps provide content for home schools and activities for kids to do after school if they can stay home alone. That way working moms don't have to worry about finding enriching materials on their own.
We focus on life skills, how to budget, how to invest, how to rent an apartment, things like entrepreneurship, working, problem solving, working as a team, program management.
This platform can save you some money as well. Many of the activities are not only enriching for kids, they can be 50 to 70% off. Plus, Enriched HQ has a tool to help parents improve their work-life balance. Money is more often than not top of mind when starting a new job or when you're looking to get ahead with your current employer. Before you sign on the dotted line, though, this expert from North Carolina wants you to stop and think for a minute.
Because the first thing we need to do is know our worth, know who we are, know what we have to offer.
Jamie Johnson, career advisor from the University of Phoenix, says it's not only important to do your research while applying for a job, it's also important to do your research after you actually landed the position.
Be prepared. Know the region, know what you want, and of course, be prepared to negotiate.
She says you have to know your worth and be confident in the number you've chosen.
But don't be afraid to go with the higher number, but be reasonable by your research.
If you're afraid you might lose out on the job for pushing back on your salary, Johnson says if you never ask, you'll never know.
But if you do your research, and especially if you can find somebody within the company who can give you the inside information about their salary levels for that position, and you've done everything you can, and you realize that the number you're offering is absolutely reasonable and for that position, think about what you need to do to build your confidence.
Besides money, Johnson says companies will offer other perks that could sweeten the deal for you.
If they're offering remote and that's really what you wanted, or it's hybrid, or there's something in there.
If you've given your employer a number and they won't budge, consider other ways to negotiate, like a sign-on bonus or some extra vacation days. During the pandemic, there was so many changes when it came to jobs and industries. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people started new businesses. And we're still seeing a big impact from some of those changes. A lot of new industries are forming. AI is coming on board. And to help us kind of understand a little bit more about what the jobs are looking like for the future, I decided to ask one of the experts to come on to our show. This is Shannon Bryant. She's the Executive Director of Workforce and Economic Development at Minnesota State. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It can feel a lot of overwhelming with so many changes with jobs right now. Artificial intelligence, so many new industries. What are some of the biggest changes that you are seeing right now in jobs?
There are so many open positions across this country right now. For example, manufacturing, there's over 19,000 open jobs in the state of Minnesota. There's over 45,000 open positions in healthcare. And that's really the same story across the country on a national level. There's so many open positions, but unfortunately not enough of a skilled workforce. And so working with the college and university system, it's really important to create relevant and timely programs that will educate our young folks or our career changers. And so there's lots and lots of opportunity. That is, I think there's 2 jobs open to every person who can apply across the nation right now for most industries. AI obviously being a huge topic right now. Last statistic I read is that there's supposed to be over 1 million jobs created globally, impacting our global economy just in artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science. So it's a new frontier.
So for people who are looking for a new job, a new challenge, maybe a bigger paycheck for a promotion, what are some industries or some jobs that are really in demand or there's a lot of opportunities in right now?
So manufacturing, healthcare, construction is huge right now. Average salary in the construction industry is over $80,000 a year. IT, obviously, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, those are all the key areas. So a lot of times you'll hear them referred to as the STEM-related fields, technical fields. But even at that, I have met many folks who are entrepreneurs who have created their own business. The economy is always asking for folks to look at different aspects of entrepreneurship because there's such an opportunity to create small businesses. So working with small businesses, medium-sized businesses, large businesses across the country, there's just a wealth of opportunity to look at all kinds of options. The world is really your oyster. But with that being said, you have to have some level of skill sets.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time for people who want these new opportunities because there's so much of a demand for workers, and so many companies have a specific skill set that they need, and they're willing to pay for this training and offer this training in many cases. So a lot of times there may have been a roadblock for some of these jobs that people might have perceived. Now it's easier than ever, from what I've been hearing, to get into some of these industries if people want to make a career change.
Right, absolutely. And some examples would be, for example, the CHIPS and Science Act that was signed into place last year, that there's a huge increase across the nation right now for more companies to create and manufacture chips. And, you know, that's in reference to, you have a phone, you have a car, you have a computer. We all have chips on us at any given time throughout our daily life, and it's to increase the domestic manufacturing of the chips. There's a huge call for more workers to go to the semiconductor industry, either in, you know, a technician level position, an operator position, folks who are more involved in the R&D space. And so that's a new industry that's really has a call for more workers, and there's just a wealth of opportunity there. Medical technology is another result of the CHIPS and Science Act right now, focused on areas like artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning, and those are all new fields and areas where employers are needed, and that's really on working in hospitals, working in medical facilities, of learning to operate that type of equipment. You know, it's not just a day of going in and have a doctor operating on you anymore. Sometimes there's a machine in the room, and we need to know how to run that. We need someone who can fix that when it breaks down, and so there's just a lot of new positions.
And I know we've been seeing a big change when it comes to enrollment in four-year colleges and universities, two-year colleges. There's been a big push for the trades in recent years. What have we kind of been seeing there, and what is the outlook in the next 5 years when it comes to the value of a two-year versus a four-year degree in some of these jobs?
Right. So community colleges are definitely thriving. Community colleges and technical college is especially some of those areas like healthcare, the manufacturing sector, IT. In some cases, you don't need to go obtain a college degree, but you do need to obtain some kind of credential. You need to enhance that skill set. So for that reason, community colleges are doing well. I think enrollments are down across everywhere in the nation right now, but in partnering with business and industry, there's definitely an uprise in industry credentials, micro-credentials, badges, but we're seeing a lot of success here at Minnesota State colleges and universities, really talking to the businesses, engaging with them, going out to our high schools and engaging our students and talking to them about the opportunities. With the university sector, these companies, like, for example, the semiconductor companies here, they need folks who work in the research and development area. They need engineers. So a lot of those folks are coming out of our university sector. And so those are just examples. I always advise and give advice to young folks coming out. Don't just empower yourself with the degree, but also make sure that you're working on those, I like to call, essential skills, or the soft skills. Know how to sit down and have a conversation. Know how to communicate. Show up to work on time. Those are all important things, and those technical skills partnered with essential skills make for a powerful employee, and those are really important in today's world.
And I know a lot of people probably think, I've been doing the same job forever, my skills aren't transferable to anywhere else. And I know, in the broadcast industry with some of my colleagues and I who end up, we work in such a specific industry, TV, like, I can't ever work anywhere else. But, we're finding more and more that are these unique skills that so many other jobs out there use them. So I'm sure it'd be good for people to know that you may be very specific with your industry, but your skill sets can go so many other places that you probably don't realize.
Absolutely. Lots of transferable skills. Sit down and really kind of draw out what are your skill sets and see how those might apply to other industries, because there is a lot of cross-sector right now, for sure.
And I've been to career fairs for news stories, and I've been amazed at just kind of overhearing some of the conversations and some of these aha moments where people meet someone and they suddenly see, I could do this job. And it's kind of cool to see where if you are thinking about a new job or a new career, just get out there and talk to people, because I'm sure you might find something that you don't even know exists that you might really like.
Absolutely. I started my career as a pharmaceutical sales rep. You told me I'd been sitting in this seat years later, I would have told you were crazy. One thing builds after another, and never limit yourself. Just continue to explore, enhance your skill sets, enroll in a college or university program, earn an industry credential. Don't limit yourself, because the world is open to you for employment, especially in today's marketplace. There's just so many open positions across this country.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us and giving us some great advice on careers and jobs of the future.
Thank you, Gordon. Appreciate it.
A recent study found that around half of college graduates are working at a job that doesn't use their degree. So what does that say about the future of college education? One expert said the economy plays a big role in this. Some jobs require specific degrees, while others rely on skills and experience. Some college grads can't find a job in their field and end up working in a different industry, creating an imbalance between qualifications and available work. But don't worry, it is possible for grads to work around this mismatch.
Find skills that are transferable from your degree, whether it's communication, whether it's a foreign language that you learn, whether it's critical skills, critical thinking, or problem-solving skills, because those types of skills can be adaptable to a different position, a different job that will seem and be very valuable to a new position.
If you're a recent grad or you know someone who is, there are a few things you can do to make yourself more marketable. Don't stop learning. Take an online course or certification to enhance your abilities. Seek out networking opportunities. Talking to people who are already doing the thing you want to do can give you valuable insights and strategies. If the economy has been getting you down and you're thinking about looking for a second job, you're not alone. The U.S. Labor Department announced at the end of last year that the number of people working a second job reached a post-pandemic high of 8.4 million people. This story out of Tampa has more details.
I have 3 income sources.
Ariana Godoy has a full-time job and not one, but 2 side hustles. Extra gigs for extra cash.
I'm an insurance agent, I am an Uber driver, and I also do eyelash extensions.
The Labor Department says the number of people like Ariana working part-time in addition to full-time just set a new record, 8.4 million. About 6% of women in the workplace, 4.7% of men. Several of them Ariana's friends and colleagues.
A lot of people are doing this, and I'm not the only one, so we support each other through this.
The numbers are also the highest they've been since the onset of the pandemic. That's significant because as more people learned to work from home, the number of remote side gigs has also increased.
They don't get as many benefits as the full-timers. Their pay is not comparable.
Economics professor Lonnie Golden says some people are using their remote skills to make ends meet, while others are choosing to work part-time gigs to strike a work-life balance.
Some people certainly do need the income. Others that have partner support, government support, savings support, are able to reevaluate that and say, maybe I don't need to commit every day of the week to that, and I can spend more time with children, I can spend more time in school.
I love the competition and I love making money, so I don't think I'll ever stop working, but I hope to maybe knock one of my side hustles out the way.
Those same statistics from the Department of Labor show that of the 8 million people working a side hustle, about 5 million had one full-time job and one part-time job. And around 2 million of those folks are working at least 2 additional part-time jobs. When looking at jobs and working, you can't forget about the trades. And a popular one is working as an auto mechanic. But do you know what they do in their day-to-day? A lot of folks don't. So our station in Pennsylvania went to check it out. Here's the story.
I don't know much about cars, so I came to Stouck's Auto Repair Shop to learn what it takes to be an auto mechanic. All right, I'm here with Jeff. He's a service technician. And Jeff, what do we have to do first?
Okay, we're going to start with a courtesy check. So we'll open the hood and we'll start looking around all of the things underneath there.
What do we have to look for first?
That's fine. We have a battery here, so we'll test that. We have an air box that has a filter in it. And then on that side of the front of the engine, we'll have a belt. We'll check that and just look around, make sure that all the pulleys look like they're okay and all in line. We try and service things or give them ways that they know where they can schedule things ahead or out for the next oil change, or maybe inspections coming up. They can get things done at that time and save themselves time. You got it. Perfect. Oh. That's as high as it goes. All right, we're going to start with the maintenance of the engine oil and service. Do an oil change, basically. It's pretty snug. There you go. That's it. Now it's loose. You want to be prepared?
It's really going to come out?
Yeah. There you go. That's what we deal with. Did you get that?
You were right.
These will grip if you don't get it this way. You go like this, they'll poke a hole in that filter.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I said. I think
But that's fine because we're taking it off.
We're taking it off with the new one in.
You squeeze and try and rotate at the same time. You got to get dirty some days. And it's not all pretty looking glamour anymore. And hold on, there you go, and just drop it in there like that.
Should leak in. You can go slow and just fill it up. It'll pike them up pretty quick.
Find the threaded piece that sticks down for the center part and just center it and screw it. Try not to drop it while you're doing it.
What do we have to do now?
All right, we're going to bring it down part way, and we're going to start working on the brakes. Most people think it's just take that apart, put them on, and put everything back together. There's a lot of other things that go with maintenance in that area.
What do we have to do first?
Okay, we're going to do the brakes, so we're going to take the lug nuts off. There you go.
Just pull it off?
Yep, just hold her steady. She's kind of heavy, and then just sit her down. I usually sit it on the floor. You'll feel a lip out here. That's how much of the metal rotor wore away.
Oh, wow.
So that's how thick it was out there. These are pins, caliper pin slides. That one's stuck. That one's stuck. They should move. There you go.
I mean, just let it hang?
Yeah, you can because it's got another hanger here, but you're good, that's it. Okay. Now the rotor will come off. There's a lot of different lubes and stuff like that take care of that. It's accomplishment. With the camaraderie, there was something wrong with it probably.
Come on.
We get along really good here as a group, and we understand each other's downfalls and accomplishments, so we live off of that.
Tyler Hatfield.
More people have started working as car mechanics since 2020, but overall, the industry is still in need of workers. By 2027, more than 600,000 automotive, diesel, and collision techs will be needed. It will be a great option to consider. Finding a new job can be a lot of work, but if you're trying to find a better opportunity, don't give up. There are lots of options out there and lots of chances to find something that is fulfilling and meaningful to you. Well, that's all for today's show. I'm Gordon Severson, helping you save, spend, and invest your money wisely. I'll see you next time.
Australians are being told to work from home, avoid air travel and slow down on the roads to help battle the escalating fuel crisis.
King County employees are pushing back hard over their return-to-office mandate. Their new boss, Gurmai Zahalai, is requiring that they report to their office buildings at least 3 days a week by June 1st. He says this is meant to improve service and transparency, but union leaders and employees say the planning has been rushed and it lacks crucial details. KUOW's Amy Radel explains.
King County closed its administration building in downtown Seattle during the pandemic and never reopened it. The offices it housed have relocated, but standing in the lobby, King County Council member Reagan Dunn said its shadowy spaces are symbolic of a work-from-home culture that he's determined to change.
And let me just tell you, as I stand around here, I'm the least popular guy in King County government.
Last year, Dunn, a Republican, introduced legislation requiring county employees to work in the office 3 days a week. The proposal didn't pass, but Dunn says it created momentum for the return-to-office process that the new King County executive, Gurmai Zahalai, is now pursuing.
It's really hard to say oh my gosh, it's draconian to bring us back 3 days a week, because most Americans are out there working in the office in most cases more than that. And so it was designed to force the hand of whomever was going to be the new exec.
Office workers make up about a quarter of the county's more than 18,000 employees. Dunn says he wanted to head off attempts by labor unions to enshrine remote work for office workers permanently. He says in-person work is key for collaboration, morale, and building public trust. Zahalai has delivered a similar message, calling for better visibility and customer service through what he calls boots on the ground. But one public health employee we spoke to said the mandate feels performative and half-baked. KUOW agreed to not use employees' names because they feared repercussions to their jobs. This employee said she's not opposed to working in the office, but the current setup is inadequate.
You know, we need focused workspaces, and the reality is that county buildings are not equipped to host the number of employees that are being mandated back.
In another county department, Natural Resources and Parks, employees say this change is even more wrenching because 1,200 staffers are fully remote and have no dedicated space to return to. Some workers now live outside King County and say they're accustomed to visiting work sites, but going to downtown Seattle would take hours each day.
I've actually cried. I'm starting to right now. And all this angst that we get from these silly emails we get over and over from people that know nothing about what we do.
I love my job. I love what I do. And this autonomy and flexibility allows me to do what I do best effectively.
If they pumped the brakes and took time to really listen to the concerns of their employees and to try to work with people to treat us like people, like they value us, I don't think we'd be having these conversations.
Bringing everyone to the office 3 days a week is expected to cost $22 million, partly to add 1,700 new workspaces, in part because the county has hired more staff since 2020. In an interview with KUOW, King County Executive Gurmai Zahalai said his own staff is coming into work at least 3 days a week. He calls the difference undeniable.
We're able to build relationships amongst team members, especially new team members. In a new administration, that is critical. Our decision making is faster, and the environment is just more enjoyable and more productive that we're all here.
Zahalai says as a new dad, he also sees the family benefits of some remote work, which is why he's pushing the hybrid schedule. But employees say they still see chaos ahead as departments commit to varying deadlines. Kara Matson represents county employees with Teamsters Local 117. She's part of a coalition negotiating with county leadership over the Department of Natural Resources employees.
These employees have built their lives around this, and they feel like they've been deceived or tricked.
Matson says employees packed a recent meeting, partly to illustrate the space constraints. She says employees are supposed to submit new telework agreements. The unions are advising them not to commit to the in-office schedule. Amy Radel, KUOW News.
Context of White Supremacy. Gus T. Renegade in for another broadcast, hopefully to share constructive information on the global system of white supremacy. Today's date, Thursday, March 26, 2026, so I have been told. Our weekly broadcast, Neutralizing Workplace Racism, not for spectators, especially if you have figured out you don't have to sit around and weep, get sad, pull out all the Kleenex because they're going to make you go into work. That's not you. You don't have to deal with no wage theft. You don't have to do no weeping at the gas pump. Whether you go into work or you are allowed to remain home, hey, I don't have to look at my wallet every time we go to that pump. Oh my God, I can't believe it. How much? That's not you. You already got your transportation situation worked out beautifully. And in fact, either you make enough money or you got the Fuller. Fuller said he walked to work like 30 years. However you got it configured, you are not in that group hand wringing, belly aching about these conflict time gas prices because of what's going on in Iran. That's not you. You are respected, treated in a courteous manner every day. They call you by your correct name. You don't have to be scurrying. Do I have skills that will translate to another field? None of those concerns. I am stable in my employment. They appreciate my hard work because I am punctual. I'm courteous, hardworking, ask good questions. If that's you, let us know. How did you do this? Did you say certain things, use your policy and procedure? What did you do to get into a comfortable workplace position? Maybe if you give us as much detail as possible, we can emulate what you've done. The number 720-716-7300. The code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. Now, audio segments that we heard at the beginning. I guess one, can we get a moment of love and prayer for the TSA workers? There are lots of non-white people who work with TSA, like lots. Cities throughout this continent, lots of black people who work at TSA. We were just here. It is so like just round and round, the revolution of it all. We were just here. Like, I don't even think it's been 6 months. And then, I mean, like, verbatim. Oh, my goodness. TSA workers. What we got? That's how I know, because I looked in October and November when we talked about all this, that it was a lot of non-white people, a lot of black people who were the ones saying, man, they making us come in and do all this grueling work to make sure that the planes don't get blown up and such, and we don't get no paycheck. Like, man. And then you got all these lines and people looking at us mad and surly and all the rest of it. Like, oh, my God, Aunt, I don't get no paycheck? Oh, we heard all this. They said this in October. Like I said, we just went through all this in autumn. They said, man, you got TSA workers. They got to call out and take a second job just so they can pay some of their bills and stuff. We just went through all of this and then turn around and go through all of this again. They would have turnover. That's what I would expect, to have turnover at TSA like you would not believe. Like, you can take this job and shove it. Like, who wants a job like that where they're going to be messing? Not through any fault of your own. Total white shenanigans, messing around with your paycheck all the time. And like, I mean, this wouldn't be cool even if I worked at like 7-Eleven, you know, making Slurpees. This is really important work, right? That's what they say, you know, keep all these folks, you got niggers coming through with bombs in their shoes and everything. Like, this is really important. That's what they say. What in the... You tell me, even if you worked at the 7-Eleven doing the Slurpee, you think you're going to get the Slurpee formula correct if you don't know if you're going to get paid for like a month? I would be bailing on TSA. Like, man, that would even be something to pay attention to. Like, man, what is the employment situation like at TSA for like the next year, since everybody has seen this? Do they have like lots of employees who are, you know, scrambling? I'm getting out of here as soon as possible. Update my resume and all the rest of it. Like, What does it look like? And then how does that impact other aspects of flying in this part of the world? But prayers, thoughts to all of the victims of white supremacy employed as TSA workers. Man. Hopefully you will get all of your back pay and some extra. Weren't they talking about, like, months ago, weren't they talking about, like, bonuses for all the folks who endured all this and came in and didn't call out sick and worked and all the rest of it, and we appreciate your service, and we're going to bring, they were saying, we're going to bring you to Washington, D.C. so you can meet the president and he can personally congratulate and thank you for all of your hard efforts, and we're going to give you a bonus. They were talking about all that. You should get like a quadruple bonus. You had to go through all this twice. Man. They had the segment on the impact of the conflict in Iran and how that has caused extraordinary spikes in gas. They had a report in the LA Times today. Gas in Southern California at nearly $9 a gallon. Nearly $9 a gallon in Southern California. Now, might be that case in San Francisco too. I don't know. I was just looking at the LA Times. But, man, you want to talk about, Fuller talked about, has said it over and over, very important, I think, tried to make sure we repeat this for neutralizing workplace racism over the years. Even if you are an entrepreneur, victim of racism, non-white person, hey, racists, they control all areas of people activity. When you have people who are hostile to you and they control how much you're going to pay for gas at $9 per gallon, you can be out of business real quick, or your profit margins can change real quick just based on what did Donald Trump decide to do today. That's the system of white supremacy racism. Specifically, we have talked about Rideshare, DoorDash. Lots of people do delivery work. That's all over the world, but certainly here in the U.S., lots of non-white people do the Rideshares and delivering food and all the rest of it, the Ubers and all of that. Man, you heard in the segment, it's not $9 everywhere, but they've had a massive increase all over this part of the, all throughout the world. They've had a massive increase in the price for fuel. So, man, you're doing any sort of driving where before, like, oh, okay, this might, even if that's your side hustle, like, man, for some folks, they've been saying it might not even be worth it. I might have to check in advance, like, whew, it might not even be worth it with the price of gas and all of that. And this also, I remember we just talked about this months ago, to be going through all of this again and again, usual suspects to blame. And I think both times the people who were really impacted, as usual, victims of white supremacy. And I mean that at the gas pump, like, wow, even if you think about victim in New Jersey, he was talking about starting his own trucking business. You have non-white people who have their own anything where they're doing trucking or delivery services, anything like that. Woof, it's going to impact them way more so than race soldiers who have a lot more profits, a lot more saved up, a lot more access to get resources at a cheaper rate, probably a bigger volume too, so they can get discounts and all the rest of it from their racist homies in business. But man, this sort of thing is exactly why Fuller said, and to have this sort of thing happen over and over and over. That's why I say, even being an entrepreneur, you're still on the plantation. The segment, it was lengthy. It was a little bit not what I was expecting, but I thought they had a lot of constructive tips. The segment, now they started off with the scams. That was what caught my attention. They were talking about scams and things to be on the lookout for if you're seeking employment. They said particularly with folks who might be looking for work from home opportunities, even though the scams for the new jobs might be more widespread, it seemed like that in particular might be one of those where they dangle that out there. People are looking for that so they can have a little bit more freedom with their time to get them on some night. And even with the work from home, you might not necessarily have to go in to see anyone, so it might be more advantageous for the criminals who are pulling all of this. But one of the things that I have encouraged with jobs, do some research. Especially you get a job offer that is unsolicited. You didn't send your resume to these folks. You haven't contacted these folks in any way. You haven't even heard of these folks before. Do some serious investigating. I think that those are some great tips. Go on, even take this company's name, whoever it is that's contacting you, especially if it's out of the blue. Whoever it is that's contacting you, take these folks' information, go online, do the search, and even take their company name and put scam and see if anything pops up. They say it shouldn't 5 minutes. Do a little digging, see if you get any news. This is all reputable. Check the Better Business Bureau. Everything is reputable here. No grousing and complaining, all the rest of it. Okay, then we can move forward. But especially because for most jobs, unfortunately, or just that is the plantation and how it's set up, but for most jobs, you are going to have to give up very sensitive information. We've talked about that before. For most jobs, they're probably going to have your phone number. They're probably going to have your physical home address. All that, social security number that they talked about, all of that. They'll probably have that for your job. Other suspected racists on your job probably could get access to that information if they really wanted it. That said, I would not want to be reckless in giving out that data, so just take a few steps. Really, just take a little bit of time. If you get any of those offers, make sure this is not too good to be true. This is legitimate master deceivers in operation here. And I've been seeing enough reports, it seems like there might be more of these kind of jobs, especially because you have people that are desperate, right? You have lots of folks looking for jobs and that sort of thing. And so, hey, we can get them where they don't take 2 minutes to investigate because they're so, like I said, desperate, hopeful that this is something maybe I finally broke through. And no. So just take 2 minutes, especially tell young folks, take 5 minutes maybe, investigate, check, follow if they have information provided. You can follow up on that too, just to make sure this is legitimate before we give out any sensitive information. Next, they continued. They had more tips. They said now they started talking about the so-called mommy tax. Now they interviewed Carleen Haylett. I looked at her. I think this is a white woman. I could be wrong. I do make false positives sometimes, but I don't think so. I think this is I don't think this is Michelle Obama's long lost little sister or something. I don't think so. But Carleen Haylett, and talking about you have to step up and be vocal. We've had many reports before where they have talked about where white women have talked about how the so-called glass ceiling and particularly pay inequality between white women and white men. They've had many instances where they've said you don't even need legislation for that. All you have to do is talk about transparency and revealing salaries. Frequently, that is enough to correct the problem. Where they said the problem is the disparity between white men, non-white males. I have no cute title for that. Black male privilege tax? I don't know what that is, but they said that one is a little more difficult to get rid of. Apparently, even transparency on that one don't do a whole lot to correct it. But anyway, talking about even that, they really talk about white mommy tax, because I know they are not concerned about no black females, non-white females. They are not trying to get them a few extra nickels to make sure that their quality of life for them and their non-white offspring is a little better. That's why it's Carleen Haylett is the representative. Anyway, with regards to asking for the salary, though, I do think, mommy tax aside, I do think that is constructive, because they do tell black people no frequently, especially for things that are constructive, like a salary that is commensurate with your talents. So I do think that is important. That's another one where you can do your research, especially if you are there and you're trying to get a raise, meaning you're already employed with this organization, or you're trying to get a raise. Oh yeah, you should be able to do a little recon to see other individuals with your level of education, experience, time you've been employed there, expertise. What do they make? What do you? But that's what I mean, like the transparency with the salary thing. Like just getting access to that information can put you in a much better spot to, hey, based on my contributions, my education, how long I've worked for you all and hopefully done extraordinary work contributing to the bottom line, this is what I am worth. I think that's great. They can tell you no, but that's definitely make sure we ask. And then I think too, also being prepared if it's final, we're not giving you anything else. See if you can negotiate extra vacay, signing bonus, lots of it, even parking space, lots of different things that you can, add on. But if you're not going to pay me some few extra nickels, because that vacay, man, by the time that you deal with all of the racism and stress of white supremacy racism, asking for that extra week of vacation, man, especially by the time you get close to the end of the year, whew, awesome. Or asking for, can I work from home 1 day a week? You don't have to give me the whole 5. Let me work from home 1 day a week. I know for a lot of folks, that alone, like, oh my goodness, best thing ever. They continued, they said, they talked about saying that, hey, there are lots of jobs available in this market, but these are skilled jobs that we have lots of people who might not necessarily be trained for these jobs, but there are lots of jobs. And they went through the fields, manufacturing, healthcare. Now, I even had to pause with healthcare. Now, that's one you would have to investigate. Now, is this where we're talking about the nurses who are going to have to work with these geriatric racist patients, emptying their bedpans and such? Is that we're talking about openings in healthcare, nursing shortages, and that sort of thing? Really grueling work where the pay is not equal to the amount of work that you're going to be having to do, and all of the strain and abuse that you're going to have to deal with. Not to mention if they have another COVID-19 come through. Like, I mean, I guess it's a job, but it's a reason that they have some of these jobs in healthcare. That would be one. But they said construction, said, I don't know, is that the impact of ICE? You got some of the non-white people that you would normally exploit in construction. Now they are not present. And that, I was also thinking that might be Silver Tsunami too, where that's a business where they have made it white exclusive for so long. White population is aging. That might be one where we might be running out of white people to do this work. And then the ICE is scaring off the non-white people that we would use. Non-white, non-black people we would use. But they said construction is one. And then IT, cybersecurity, I could certainly see that, unless that's one that the bots are going to take over eventually. But they said also for this employment market to make sure that you improve, refine your essential skills, showing up to work on time. How Neely Fuller Jr., if you can't be early, be on time, something we talk about all the time here. They also talked about being able to write, talk to your employees, because they've been saying that's something that is missing. So certain, I would say professional writing, like, man, that's something that, and I think particularly since the pandemic, where people were working from home, and so they were having a little bit more writing, whether it's emails or what, just because we're not in person. Professional writing, where people come to the job and they speak as though, we're texting, and they got all the emojis and eggplants and lol and acronyms and all the rest of, like, professional writing for the workplace. workplace is very important. Not cursing and all of that. Like, even if you, I don't know anyone in this situation, but if we have any non-white people where you work, there are no racists, no white people in your workplace. All of the non-white people are super courteous. You all get along. You're constructive. There's no name calling. We come in and we work hard, make our few nickels or what have you, go home. Everybody's great. Even if you work in that sort of environment, I'm not doing all the laws and chatting. I'm still going to talk professionally, especially if you have like a professional job. You're not working at the Slurpee machine or something like that. Oh yeah, talk right professionally. That's something that you can even practice. Really, you can practice writing professionally when you do your notes about things that happen in the workplace. If it's racism, policy violations, whatever it is, put that in your notes, and then you can practice writing professionally. Let's see. They talked about skills to work on. Oh my goodness, they said for the young people having an attitude, it was lots of that. They reminded me of Neely Fuller Jr., where they said having an attitude where you are a lifetime learner, still learning, where you are constantly looking to acquire skills. They have online courses or certifications, and always updating that resume once you complete your course, or they have classes. I think that's even Fuller. That's why I said so much of it reminded me of Fuller. Fuller would talk about that all the time. He would say even once you get your job, one of the major ways that they practice racism against us, non-white people, we get that job, most fields, they add new information, constantly learning. So they update, add new things as we get new information, that they deny training to non-white people, where they make it difficult for us to get the training. They tell us, at the last minute, as opposed to us knowing in January that they're going to have training in June. So you go, oh, okay, I'm going to make plans and register for that, plan it out. That'll be great. They'll wait and tell us like Memorial Day weekend. Like, what? Wait, June? Like, why didn't you tell me months ago so I could have signed up and all that? That sort of thing is really common, where you end up being really late, or sometimes you miss information completely, where you would be more knowledgeable, more effective at your job, maybe you get that raise, all kinds of constructive things, but missing out. So be proactive, looking for, do they have training, certifications? And sometimes you might be on a job where they will pay for you to get, if it's certification, or if they have a course, something like that, they might even pay for it. So, win-win. That might be another one. You might have to ask the people on your job, or do a little research to see, do they have, scholarships or whatever, where if you go and get the certification, they'll, reimburse you or whatever. But do all of that stuff, so you're constantly increasing your value as an employee for them or someone else. Let's see. They had the segment, all same report. They continued and they talked about right now, 2026, at least for this part of the world, it is a post-COVID-19 pandemic high in terms of employees working multiple jobs, having a full-time job and a part-time job. They said this is a new high. I think that is just a part of the system of white supremacy racism. What they'll say is driving up the cost of living. They had a report today in the Seattle Times. It was not Seattle Times, it's Fox 13, local affiliate. They said that Washington State is the 5th most expensive state in the U.S. Not that big a surprise, but all of that driving up so-called cost of living, as they say, and especially for non-white people, victims of racism, to make it more and more difficult. You have to get 2 jobs, 3 jobs. They said some of them 4, 5. How you use your time and energy. I even remember we had some folks, they were doing counter-racist experiments to see how much of their time in a given week, how much of their time can they invest in attempted counter-racist activities versus, the job or just other things. They said they could never quite get the math to work correctly. It would be more time work or just other things as opposed to counter-racist activities. And if you are working 3 jobs, 2 jobs, for a lot of folks, even one stressful job with 40 hours is more than enough to have it so that you do not want to use your brain computer for anything else. I can totally relate to that. But if you add 2 jobs, 3 jobs, now, we might be talking, hey, working 55 hours a week, 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week. Even, they said, some of those might be work from home. Some of them might be, Rideshare, whatever it is. Even still, by the time you do all of that, now who is going to be, yes, I would like to go and read, the ISIS papers, anything, really. Who wants to do that? I mean, really, can I go to bed? I don't want to eat. I don't want to talk. I don't play with the children. I just want to go to bed. You have lots of folks where you can just work them, especially non-white people. You will not have the time and energy to replace white supremacy with justice. He reminded me of Fuller, where he said, where we value survival more than justice. Brave soldiers can set things up so that, yes, that will be the focus. We're just focusing on surviving. The report where they talked about at the end, we had all of that, and then they ended. I segued, they had the section, they did have a full 5-minute report where they were talking about in Australia, white workers, and that's the folks that they had in the segment. They look like they be classified as white, not the indigenous population. But the white Australians, they were being encouraged, hey, go back to work from home. They got the conflict in Iran right now, and petrol is real high. Just work from home. And don't do no traveling, don't do no summertime and all that. We got to go here and visit auntie and all that. Just sit at home and look at the kangaroos, play with the koala bears, and, work from home. Here in Seattle, Washington, or King County, I can't even say Seattle, in King County, the predominantly white population, they are being encouraged to do the exact opposite in what I just said, the 5th most expensive state in the continent. Get back in here, and they were talking to King County employees. They were standing downtown. I do not enjoy doing downtown. If I was an employee for King County, I would not be in no rush to go back downtown. That's just me. But they were talking about you got to come for 3 days per week for the folks who are King County employees. And they said, oh, my goodness. They were talking to all the employees who I guess didn't want to be identified. And they were whining and moaning and, oh, my God, I just breaking into tears. They think I got to go down. Real talk. Gus T also weeps and moans when I have to go and spend any amount of time, extended time, in downtown Seattle. Like, oh my God. Matter of fact, I remember King County Courthouse during the pandemic, since they brought that up, they had protests. It was on the front page of the Seattle Times. The employees of the King County Courthouse, they were protesting, and they ended up working from home, not because of the Rona, unsafe work conditions. Employees were being insulted or raped in the bathroom. That's what they said. I do not look forward to going downtown in Seattle. And with the pandemic, it wasn't just the King County employees. It was lots of the businesses and such in the downtown corridor where people were working from home and all the rest of it. It was tons and still tons of vacancies. And I mean, it was really bad, like 2020, 2021. It's not quite as bad as it was then, but because Amazon and all that had been trying to make people come back in directly. But man, I would not want to be downtown. You have got to be joking.
Especially you got to hang out down there like all day long. Oh my God. And the gas now too, because they said people, they moved. Like they talked about that. They, dipped, went out and got them houses, more space, because Seattle is, so many people live there, it's congested and everything. Forget this, we can move outside the city and get me a little bit more property and some space, it's quiet, from the hoodlums, and I'm not going back down there to do all that nonsense every day. Then you got to drive, and the commute, we have a horrible commute. I had said that then. I said, the white people, Amazon and them, when they started saying, Microsoft, all the big time employers around here, when they started saying you got to come back in 5 days a week, I said, are they going to enforce this? You even heard at the end of that segment at KUOW, they said the union members, they were encouraging them not to sign off on the contract where you got to come back in 3 days a week. They didn't even say you got to come back in all 5. We're not going to do it. Like I said I'd seen enough of that white defiance here in Washington State specifically and abroad. I said, so are they going to start firing people if they say white people, like I said, who moved, bought a house, Kent, someplace, or even further, maybe. They bought either Tacoma, wherever. They bought a house. So, and I say I'm not coming back to Seattle 5 days a week or at all. I'm doing it all remote. Are you going to fire these folks? You talk about emboldened, because I have seen a number of white people who have said, I am emboldened. I am living my best life, working from home, and I'm not going back in. You're not fitting to shackle me to no desk and all that. I'm not. You hear? They said it's draconian to ask me to come into the office. They didn't even say 5. They said 3. You can still chill for 2 days. They said for 3 days. Just out of my own personal curiosity, I'm going to pay attention for the local front to see how all of this goes down. Are they going to drag these white people back in or fire them? We'll get new employees who are willing to come in and do their job and don't have a problem being present for 3 days a week. I also think it's important. So it was a white man, Regan Dunn, who tried to get this done before to get people to return to the office. He failed. Gurme Zahile is a non-white male, so-called Sudanese male. Let's see if that makes any difference in how they respond to all of this, if it is perceived that it's a non-white male, privileged, making us come back in to the office and do all of this. We'll have to see. But they are being encouraged to do the exact opposite in Australia. Stay home, save gas. Any hoodles, folks, you can let us know the gas surge in pricing. How has that impacted your commute? Is that an option? Has that been, because I haven't heard that stateside, has that been raised where people say, oh my God, have you seen the prices at the pump? We're gonna go back to working from home 3 days a week, or half time at least, see if we could save a little bit of money, because man, that'd chew up your whole salary just trying to come in to work. Has anybody had that? Let us know. Or even just, has that had an impact? I know we have folks who do the Rideshare and deliveries and all of that. Has the gas pricing, has that impacted your work? Let us know. The number 720-716-7300. The code 564-943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. Let us know. Drop us a line if the gas has impacted your ability to get to work, or bottom line, especially like folks who do the rideshare and such. Let us know how the petro increase has impacted your workplace situation. I cannot say enough, regardless of the type of job that you have. If you work with non-white people, if it's mostly white people, I don't know what your work situation is, but do not chit-chat about politics, what is happening. I would not talk about the gas, who's to blame for that, TSA shutdown, what's happening with Iran, Epstein files, none of the above. Oh, it's springtime, new weather. Hopefully it's nice wherever you are. That's about it. Let's get back to the job. We're trying to figure out salaries, all the rest of. Are they gonna be laying off here? Is this like Meta? We're about to have a whole lot of people that are gonna be going out of here permanently. We have so much that we need to know about the job. We just don't have time to get off into all that, personal stuff. Like I said, I just found out black people are disproportionately likely to be victims of fatal workplace violence. As such, hey, I'm not engaging in any conduct to increase any sort of violence, conflict in the workplace, likely to happen anyway. People get fired or reprimanded or whatever the case may be. Let's just talk about the job. We don't need to bring up nothing about the tournament and how much money you lost betting on March Madness or nothing about that. Let's just stay focused on the job. Courteously, professionally, like I said before, and see if we can get through right at. Maybe we can get a raise and get through the day in a safe and courteous manner. That's the goal. But yes, no talking about any other goofiness in the workplace. Let's see, I'll get email number 1. Let's see, then I'll nab some of the folks. Let's see. Oh, lost my tab for email. Okay, email number 1. Greetings, Gus Cow's audience. White power. 2 weeks ago, when Harry told me I would be moved off the project with right-wing Ashley and Amina, he told me he needed to speak with Phoebe to decide whether she or Tristan, who is on leave until May, wow, that is, wow, oversee the work. I meet with him once a fortnight, so I was waiting for our meeting yesterday to get the update, as he didn't say anything over the past 2-week period. I didn't say who would lead the project between right-wing Ashley or Amina, or if they had been told about the change. I assumed they knew before I did. Good assumption, but it wasn't my place to say anything, nor was I told I could do so. We did our weekly team meeting, and Harry stood in for Tristan. We gave our priorities for the week, and Amina covered the project we are working on, and I added a few points. I told him I wanted to talk him through the changes agreed during the process review, as we had not gone into detail. I explained a few issues, and he agreed with the proposals. Amina confirmed that we were already implementing changes that were having a positive impact. To my surprise, later that day, he sent me the following email. We touched on this earlier, and we can discuss further tomorrow. I assume you've already shared this with right-wing Ashley and Amina, but just to reiterate what we discussed in our 101 a couple of weeks ago. Now that the broader work you were leading has ended, I think we can reduce the resource that goes into this project back down to what it used to be, managed at a lower grade. You said you were working with legal to improve the process to make sure things can be dealt with more quickly and make sure the resource going in is appropriate. We agreed this would be ready by Easter. We can discuss tomorrow, but I'm still keen to move to that process by Easter. Right-wing Ashley and Amina were copied in. This is an instruction for me, not them, so they did not need to be included. It's accusatory and a metaphorical kick in the back. I didn't push back about the changes he's making. I can't wait to see the back of the project and right Wing Ashley. I told him earlier that I wanted him to be clear on what changes were being made, not that the work wasn't completed. This was because he was asking Right Wing Ashley to do things that go against the process agreed with by the lawyers. He didn't ask me to do the work by Easter. I offered to complete it for my own reasons. All he was interested in was getting me off the project, and staff changes sometimes are made in a day. Right Wing Ashley is behind this, alongside Phoebe and Isabel, plus Harry's own racist agenda. I messaged him separately to remind him that he had not confirmed who was taking over the project. That was what I was kind of waiting for in the email. Like, and we confirm, move you off the project, give you something else, or let Right Wing Ashley, she's so competent in her neurodiverse ways, let her lead the project. That's what I was kind of waiting on, but he didn't even bring that up at all. Glad I was thinking the exact same thing. Let's see, she says, I messaged him separately to remind him that he had not confirmed who was taking over the project, which was the reason I hadn't told anyone, and that I was planning to do so that day after I spoke with him, which was the truth. I also confirmed the process is in place and that there are a few things that will need to be followed up that do not need my involvement, which he was fine about. I met him the following morning, and he practiced racism. I had sent him the slide pack used for the process review, which included a breakdown of what I team do, and the same for legal. He said the process was clear, asked me to talk him through, and claimed he didn't understand. So he then asked me to set up another session with Right Wing Ashley, not Amina, as she's got another role which he's known about for weeks. To facilitate the session, I need to prepare a flowchart diagram setting out the steps to take in detail and talk them through it and bring the lawyers along. Either she's capable of leading the project or she's not. That's what I was kind of waiting on too. Like, hey, if Right Wing Ashley is that cool, let her lead the project and let's roll. I didn't hear that in the email. Like, what is going on here? It was not clear. He didn't really understand the legal process we follow or pay attention to what Fred wasn't doing when he led the work. Again, Fred is the white fella who was on this project for approximately 2 years and didn't do any work, shiftless, sat around, and then passed the project on. Like, oh yeah, might be a few gaps, or I missed a day or two, but then you figure it out. Don't worry about it. That's Fred and all this. Harry was under the impression it was great. Fred is white after all. Harry said he couldn't understand why the work took so long and blamed me about it, not Fred. I let him know that there were performance issues and that we also inherited a backlog, which for some reason he was shocked about. Now see, that sort of thing right there. This dude, Fred, has been working here for a long time. Like years of shiftless behavior. How is it you don't know Fred ain't been on his job on this one? Drop the bucket, as they say. Drop the ball, as they say. And for like 2 years, not like one day. And then didn't he really give us all the information when the project was transferred about his, lazy attitude in all of this? He didn't even let us know. There's always a few, gaps in there a little bit, but you'll be able to, correct it. And then we get this fella saying, well, I don't know what? I'm shocked about all this. What? We're behind. What? Come on, man. If Fred was classified as black, I humbly submit everybody would know about his shiftless conduct. It's years of this behavior. In fact, he probably wouldn't have this job. Let's see. I let him know there were performance issues, and I will even add, it doesn't seem, now I don't know what she said exactly. She could have totally trashed Fred out. From what she wrote here, she didn't even throw Fred under the bus, as they say. I know some folks, they would, hey man, Fred had this thing for 2 years and messed around, and we passed us the project. I don't know what he was doing, but she didn't even do that. Just, we had delays, and I think some people would say, what Michelle Obama told us, you go high. I'm not going to, talk bad about another coworker who's still here, who I have to work with and such. We had delays on the project. And we just get back to what needs to be done. But I mean, come on. I don't think if this had been a white person, and if the person writing this, young lady, non-white, if she had been the one to not do work for 2 years, I don't think they would have got that sort of, well, we're not going to throw her under the bus and say that she messed the whole project up and that's why we're behind. They would have outed her by name, everything. Continuing. Harry's shocked about them being behind. I let him know that there were performance issues and that we also had inherited a backlog, which for some reason he was shocked about. He asked what I did about the performance issue. I said I informed line managers. He wrote it down but didn't ask further questions, but is clearly gearing up to blame me for the mess I didn't create. Standard operating procedure. I asked him to clarify who he wanted to produce the process chart and run the session, as he's going on leave, so this will need to happen after Easter when I'm no longer working on the project. He said that you're the senior, so you need to get it done. All of this because they know she's a god idiot, Filth Lauren, who's panicking because it's all up to her from Easter. No place to hide. She also realizes her attempt at sabotaging the note-taking of the process review session has backfired, but Harry has her back. That is, hey, white people, someone will have their back. You can believe that. He asked me to explain the legal procedures to him, which surprised me because I thought he understood it. I said that to him, and he defensively tried to blame me for not explaining it to him. This man has been director for around 7 years and didn't inquire about what Fred was doing. For again, Fred is the one shiftless white man, 2 years of not doing his job. Past this project, that's why they got the delays. Fred is a big part of it. This man, somehow, I'm to blame. Hey, blame the nigger. Standard operating procedure, I told you. I clarified that what I said wasn't a critique, just that I hadn't realized he was not aware of the process. Again, Fred is white, so of course anything he was doing didn't need examination in Harry's mind. The lawyers, on the other hand, see Fred's abilities very differently. Poor Fred. We had my final project meeting with the lawyers. At the end of the meeting, we informed them that I would be leaving the project, as will Amina, in a few weeks. They looked horrified when right-wing Ashley explained she would be leading without any manager overseeing her, as Fred had managed the project on his own before. Now that's how we ended up with him. I didn't know Fred was I thought Fred was just like, an employee, and he had somebody to answer to. Fred, how do you have a project where the person leading the project is the laziest member of the team? What kind of, man. And then you let him lead the team for 2 years. Pass it all to a black female. And then, oh my God, this here shiftless nigger woman, do you see how behind you? It would be funny if that's not what happened, but I mean, that's what she basically has told us over about the last year or so in the notes. And so that's how I know Fred. Come on. Anyway, so they're going to they go back, they're going to right-wing Ashley, she's going to be in charge and nobody overseeing her. We had been discussing the crappy template that right-wing Ashley had produced, which she clearly doesn't understand and which I refused to amend after her sabotage. Bravo. The lawyers will be redoing the template, which right-wing Ashley didn't seem to comprehend. See, they get all these either you have lazy white employees like Fred, incompetent white employees. Really, it sounds like you got lots of them. That might be Fred, right-wing Ashley. Even her former supervisor, who was so incompetent, she couldn't even get the position. She was supposed to move up. They said, "Dang, you're so incompetent, we can't even give you the promotion. You're going to have to do something else." You get all these old incompetent white people, and then we just find a way to blame it on the black person. How did they hire all these incompetent white people to begin with? Lazy, incompetent, neurodiverse, they got all these excuses. Man. But bravo on all of her treachery, talking about right-wing Ashley, all of her racism, all of her lying, all of her sabotage and defiance. No. You put this lame design together. I'm not going to correct it for you because there's been a lot of that too. I'm not going to do your work for you. You wanted to be in charge? Let it ride. The lawyers will be there. After hearing the project team changes, the lead lawyer said, "We need to get the templates finalized as soon as possible." He also asked who will be right-wing Ashley's team lead, Phoebe or Tristan. That has not been resolved yet. He said he will catch up with them once it's been agreed. And I know why. Right-wing Ashley is panicking whilst asserting herself. She had sent me a few documents to clear a few weeks ago and chased me for them after Harry had sent his note confirming I'd be leaving at Easter. I'd already sent an earlier email canceling the team meetings as we'd be meeting the following day with the lawyers. I asked them to use the time to prepare for that meeting, and I would clear any outstanding documents. Right-wing Ashley emailed asking if I would like her to prepare a list of the work they had asked me to clear with the dates of when they sent them to me. She thinks she's extra clever. I replied that she would prioritize preparing for the meeting with the lawyers. She didn't get the message. She emailed me back clarifying that she was asking if I needed her to prioritize the work they'd asked me to clear. I messaged back that I understood what she had said and that she should prioritize preparing for the meeting with the lawyers. She then got the message. I think she got it before. She was just, lying. It's been a difficult and unjust week. I bet. Much obliged for sharing. Sorry you had to endure all of that. And even just the time and energy of having to go through all. This is the same suspected racist, right-wing Ashley, who had accused her of being unprofessional, and she came in this meeting to yell at me and just berate me, and she just crushed my confidence and made me feel so awful and all this nonsense. What? This same and sabotage, all that, the lying and undermining her work and all of that. And now we get to the point where, hey, you got what you wanted. You can lead the team. And it's, I've seen that as well. We've had other folks who talk to us where it's white people who are incompetent. This is not my personal assessment. I think Fred is kind of lame. He didn't graduate from Clemson either, so he's kind of stupid and not too not too fast to pick up new concepts, that sort of thing. No, this is where we have come to an agreement. Even the people who are somewhat friendly with Fred think Fred is not intelligent. Fred is just he's not the brightest bulb in the drawer. Even like Fred, we go out to lunch every day, but man, you don't want Fred to do your taxes. That type of thing. It's lots of that. But they still, I think I should get the promotion. I think I should be the one leading the project. They got an opening for new director. I'm going to put my name in. I'm going to apply it. I know I'm not qualified. Everybody here knows I'm not qualified. But they still, and sometimes they even get help. We've heard that where, people will put recommendations for them to get promotions or recommendations for them to get this new job. Like, wait a minute. This person is ignorant, confused, lazy, like long list of descriptors. Like, no, why, what? Why is this person? And come on. I can only say, anyone in these sort of work situations, again, that's why I think it's valuable. The time wasting, the sabotage, all of this is standard operating procedure. Composure, I think she's done a great job keeping her composure throughout. I think she does a lot of emailing. I think that is advisable as well, especially once you have been accused of some sort of, you were discourteous, and this white employee said that you were rude to them and talking or trying to explain a concept. Sound like it was almost happening with Harry too, when she said she was surprised that, I think he's like a director, powerful white person. He's been there for like 7 years, and he didn't understand the process. She's like, what? I thought you'd been in it. He goes like, wait a minute, you don't talk to me about I'm ignorant. You the one that didn't explain to me correct. Like, that sort of thing happens all the time where white people will get upset where it's, hey, you don't publicly, or you don't at all, if you are classified as black, you're a non-white person, you do not speak or behave, say anything to suggest that I'm ignorant, or that I don't know something, or that you're smarter than me, or that I'm not as intelligent as you are, or you know something that I don't know. Like that, man, there's so many examples of that where they would be furious about or correcting a white person, especially in public. Like, oh my gosh, because it sounded like she didn't do any of that. She just sounded like genuinely surprised that, oh, you've been working here for 7 years. You really? Which, hey, if you don't know something, you don't know something. But I'm just saying, like, it does seem like there's a lot of that where white people who are in very powerful positions, you've been here a long time, and this is something you don't know? Huh. Okay. Well, that's curious, but all right. Just be mindful of that. Got to be careful about that one. If it's seeming like this might be one of those where, if I was a non-white person, I don't think you could have this job and be ignorant about this. But system of white supremacy, white people, hey, you don't have to be intelligent, knowledgeable, qualifications, prerequisites for the job. Maybe they check, and maybe you have to have them. Maybe you don't. In fact, it could be with those prerequisites. If you are non-white, victim of racism, you could have them, and they'll say you are overqualified. Any hoodles, much obliged. Thank you for the share. It's been a tough week. Definitely take time for mental health. That was something I was going to say. Hopefully, if it's getting a little bit warmer, maybe get slightly longer hours of daylight. Maybe you can get outside a little bit, get a little sunshine, get a little exercise. You'll feel a little bit better. Find some people that you enjoy hanging out with constructively, where you all don't name call and such, where maybe you all can take a walk, or eat some healthy foods. Maybe springtime, so you can start get some fruits, but do something that is replenishing. Because I haven't had just even the paperwork of all of that, where you got people that are deliberately trying to be deceptive and trying to cause problems, be destructive, and you have to keep going through with all these emails back and forth and saying the same thing. No, please just do what I asked here. No, just please do what I asked here. And keeping a record of that can wear you out. Do things to replenish, rejuvenate your spirit if you have to deal with all that in your work environment, because that is part of the design, to just wear us down. Much obliged for sharing the email. untiljustice@gmail.com. That's what I said before. I was talking about you having to work 2-3 jobs, all of that. You invest, that's what your work week looks like, right? So you go in and you work 55 hours, 60 hours and that's what you deal with for the bulk of it, then I'm supposed to come, to my residence and do some sort of serious counter-racist study? Man, my brain computer is done. Like maybe for the whole weekend. Like, I just got all of that stress and tension that I experienced from the job, and then how much money I had to pay to get to work and everything. Like, I don't want to think about anything. Very logical response. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. The number 720-716-7300. The code 564943#. Press *61 if you would like to participate. Give folks, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, see if they have observations, commentary to share. Again, I would not discuss politics, the conflict in Iran, who is to blame, none of that. TSA and ICE, none of that in the workplace. Even if you work with all non-white people, all people classified as black, I would not talk about any of that in the workplace. Get back to your job. We're not looking for no conflicts, arguments, even with other non-white people. And even if everyone there agrees, you have no idea who is listening in. Stay focused on your job. Also want to make sure I say as well, I know for a lot of victims of white supremacy, they will oftentimes put us in very stressful jobs, and stressful in a lot of different ways. Like stressful, what I said with the last person who wrote in, we were talking about all of the subversion and deliberate sabotage, racist sabotage that they experience in the workplace. That's one form. You have a lot of non-white people who work in stressful jobs. In another form, they were talking about people that work in the factories like Amazon. That is really stressful and a physically demanding job where you have all those injuries, and then people are required to work at really fast speeds where it might be safe. You might tumble off, ladder and all that, so they can't go to the bathroom, get a urinary tract infection and all the rest of it. They put us in these really dangerous environments. If you are in any sort of environment where there might be any sort of traumatic event, loss of life type thing in your workplace, or even if there's the potential of that, definitely inquire and see if they have any sort of counseling services, resources for employees, just to make sure that they can care for their mental health properly. I think by 2026, that's something that is talked about on a pretty regular basis. And I think particularly for jobs where I know it's so common, they almost got them at the schools every day because of Columbine now. But for jobs like that, that is really important. Dr. Welsing told us that non-white people, victims of racism, we do not qualify for mental health. Particularly, you're a victim of racism, and then you end up, they put us on, like I said, a lot of these really stressful, TSA we even count, I'd said that previously. That's a really stressful job. Like, that's serious, right? They say, hey, man, you got to check these people and make sure, and we got the Al-Qaeda and ISIS and terrorists, and get on the plane, and all of that's really serious. You have anything like that, like I said, where it's a traumatic, somebody comes through and they have to be arrested and all of that, that is traumatizing. That's the sort of thing I would ask in advance. Do they have counseling? There's some sort of workplace event and it impacts us. We have services. What's the procedure? So you can go and talk to someone and just let them know, let them know how you're feeling, what have you, how this experience has impacted you. Ask about that, and I would say take advantage. I know there are some jobs where it might be what they'll use language like it's frowned upon. Like I know for people who work in policing, if you have an officer involved shooting, that's one where they will certainly have counseling, might even mandate it. But for some people, I think for aviation too, they might say, hey man, you fly planes, can't be going in there talking about, I had mental health problems. My co-pilot passed away, and I've been feeling bad, and I want to talk about it. You might, you lose your license. Could jeopardize your career. I've heard some folks say that same sort of thing about law enforcement. Like, you can't be messing around and saying, oh man, we had a shooting, and I feel some type of way, and I don't know if I want to pull my gun. Like, whoa, you might be messing up your law enforcement career. You can't be saying things like that. Make sure you value, nourish your mental health. I would say no job, even if it's your dream job. You've wanted to do law enforcement since you were, 3. Your mom or parents got little scrapbooks from when you were a child. You would say, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said policeman from day one, and now I'm a law enforcement officer. That's all I've ever wanted to be, and blah, blah, blah. Even then, no job is worth your mental health. Make sure, if you have one of those types of jobs, I don't guess working at the Slurpee factory would qualify, but if you have one of those types of jobs, I would say try to ask when you sign on. If you forgot, ask now. And then take advantage. And that's why I said we have so many things to discuss. We don't really have time to be talking about who you think will win the basketball tournament and how much money did you lose already and anything, politics and things that are unrelated to the workplace. We got so much, that we got to ask about. This is a big one. They try and talk to you. Who you think gonna win? You see them Blue Devils, and remember, I didn't really watch the tournament. I did want to know, do they still have the counseling services here? Wow, okay. Is that? Have you ever taken advantage? Have you used the service? Was it okay? How long did you partake? And just ask. If you work on a job where there's people that have been working there for 5 years, 10 years, ask. Have you seen these services offered before? Oh, they do have. Oh, okay. Have you used the services, and did it help? Ask. See what their experience was. Even see if that's true, because that might even be a rumor in some places, an unfounded rumor that if you utilize mental health services that you'll be penalized in your career. Maybe not. That's why I say ask. It might be people that, it might be somebody, the vice president right now, say, hey, I use the mental health services. I didn't get penalized. I'm vice president right now. Ask. See what it is, but value your mental health. And if they don't offer mental health services and you have a job and man, this is stressful. We had an event, such and such happened, whatever, and I know it had an impact on me. That might even be something where you want to see if you can get services on your own to be able to go and talk to someone. And even if you have concerns about going and seeking a counselor, being able to speak with someone, if that might impact your career, you could do the same thing. Go independently, check, even see if they got a black person, see if they got a non-white counselor that you can talk to, and go set it up and talk to them. But I think that is super important. You do not just want to sit around in a rut because of things that impact you on the job. I know so many non-white people, victims of racism. We work in jobs where the things that we see or the things that we are required to do have a massive and often destructive impact on us. And we end up going home. Fuller talked about that. Others going home and going to our residence and taking it out on other non-white people and being abusive and hostile to them, or name calling them and profanity and all the rest of it. Or even if we are by ourselves, or we engage in self-destructive habits ourselves. Not eating correctly, eating too much, not eating enough, not being able to sleep, and all the rest of it. Really make sure, if you have those services, mental health services, take advantage. And if they are not going to offer them in your workplace, then see if you can look independently and find folks that you're able to talk to. It's important to talk to someone who is not white, classified as black. They have online services where you can do that, but take advantage. You do not just want to be traumatized by events that happen in your workplace and then kind of stay bottled up with all of that and just keeping it to yourself, where it can really kind of gnaw at you and wear at your well-being It can happen for a long time. You not even realize it. Our mental health advisory for the day should be here. Let's see, on, let me think, getting my bearings still. The time change got me. So we should be here Friday as we are chugging along. Catherine Massey Book Club, our first ever non-book, Dr. Colin Anthony Beckles' Pan-African Sites of Resistance. The whole reason we read a non-book, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She was mentioned last week, and it was just, I'm not trying to lie to the folks and mislead you or anything. It was just a quick Dr. Welsing's book, and like Toni Morrison, Dr. Welsing, quick kind of short roll call of maybe 5 authors. She was one, and then moving on. She will be mentioned in greater detail this time around in terms of her work and the importance of the ISIS papers on black people at black bookstores. Super excited. Like, I learned a lot about, even if Dr. Welsing hadn't been in this book, and Mr. Fuller, even if they weren't in this book, I would have learned a lot. Why I've been so impressed by Dr. Beckles' scholarship, black male who died from suicide in Washington State. But I've been so impressed by his scholarship and talking about bookstores, black bookstores, and the system of racism globally. But Dr. Welsing coming up tomorrow, and in the section where she's coming up, now he's getting explicitly to racist attacks on black bookstores and why they were attacking black bookstores. That's the section where Dr. Welsing comes up in detail. And we just passed her birthday. I just did the shot of her birthday, which is like a week of, man, time right and exact. But that's tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. One and only maybe. We'll have to see. I have seen some good dissertations, but first time ever reading a non-book, Dr. Colin Anthony Beckles' Pan-African Sites of Resistance. About halfway through tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And then Saturday, the weekly counter-racist review, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We will review what has transpired last 7 days on the plantation, gas prices, all the rest of it. That'll be Saturday. Even conflict in Iran, not a war. I think Fuller would remind us of that. The war, the system of white supremacy racism, Vietnam, Iran, Iraq, these are all conflicts within the war. Any hoodles. Let's see. Folks who dialed in with a hand up, *61, our caller out in Florida at the courthouse, who also has been one who has told us about incompetent white people. And again, this is not, his personal assessment that these are incompetent white people. This is other people in there, even I think some of the Click members, to say that, hey, we got unprofessional white people who do not know how to talk to people. That's the soft skills that I mentioned before. But they will still get recommended job promotions, and where they know they're not qualified, their white homies got their back. They were going to put your name in. Or they say, I know I'm not qualified, but I'm still going to put my name in. I'm a white man. What you mean I'm not qualified? I'm a white man. I'm still going to put my name in. That sort of thing. He told us about that. Let's say what I said about many times. We didn't heard that because he also told us, he said they hired the white woman, said, she's going to need a little bit of hand holding. What? You mean she ain't qualified? What? That sort of thing. That's what I meant to say. Say it strong way I meant to say it first time. Told us many examples of unqualified white people hanging out with a job, good paying job, at the courthouse, where they don't hire no privileged black males. Call at the courthouse should be with us as well. And they don't do no talking about March Madness at the courthouse. I don't want to hear nothing about University of Florida None of that. He's going to stay focused on work. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. May I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Greetings to Gus, the host, the listeners and callers. Definitely, I know it won't be any March Madness, too much talk about it going on. But I do, now that you mention that, Gus, about the not as qualified white people who do get promoted very quickly. There was a recent example that I heard that somebody non-white, okay, was not satisfied with the way that she's been treated, and it was, of course, in contrast with somebody that's white that's been there less than half the time that she's been there, and she has been promoted and isn't as skilled or as knowledgeable of the jobs and the tasks that are assigned to the employee. This is a non-white person that was overlooked and had, I think, racism was practiced against her. And she, I believe, from what I was informed about, requested to talk to the white person in charge, and I think he was practicing racism, saying that he would use this. I think it's a form of codification and saying that, oh, I'll have to go and talk to such and such. This is another white guy that's in a high position, and he definitely, I think he, you know, I'll give him that label of the warden, because since she retired, he took over her spot, who I was given the title of the warden, because he is looking out for specifically white people, and they're getting promoted in certain ways. They're being excused for what they're doing. They're being accommodated, and when they don't really know how to speak to people, they don't know how to behave correctly. They're mistreating customers and things like that. And, you know, so this non-white person really was upset about not getting the promotion she deserves. But this white woman was given, I believe that's how it went. It was given to somebody white that was there like maybe 7 years, and she's there like 25 years or something to that effect. And you have those kinds of comparisons that are going on. And, you know, the non-white person is upset. So I have to get an update on that. And the person, the next warden that I want to point out, that this person, I think, had a lot to do with this decision, him and maybe about one or two other white folks. And it really does go to the power aspect of the
Trump
system
says he will sign
of white supremacy, and they'll just decide something, and it'll go into effect. They'll say, well, you know, they'll start in June, they'll start in May or something like that. And the non-white person is upset, like, man, what's going on here? Like, I have to go speak up. And I think you did mention that as well, Gus, speaking up. And I think that has a constructive effect on the job. And another thing I wanted to mention is the white guy who was unprofessional and doesn't know how to talk to people. Like, his staff was relocated from being inside of an office and put out in, I guess, like in some kind of more visible area. I guess maybe this is my conclusion. I think for some reason they wanted them to be more visible. For some reason, I don't know if they're being audited or something like that. And this person is getting a new black employee pretty soon. And I'm going to be trying to observe that as well. And the black manager is getting a new white employee. So I don't know if that might be some kind of strategy going on, Gus, where they may be trying to go along with some kind of mandate or something, because there was a news report about I think it's Doge, D-O-G-E, and about the county that I'm in. They had this PDF file where it says dominant white culture or something like that, or traits of dominant white culture, or to reject dominant white culture. And the page where the county where I'm at in Florida, it says it's indoctrinating senior county positions or something like that, or people that are in senior positions with DEI practices or something to that effect. And I'm not sure what they could be getting at with that, but I wanted to mention that as well. And if I could mention one more thing, there was a white woman. Now, I don't think I've mentioned this before, Gus, but this white woman been worked, I think, since she was 19 or whatever, so I'm 39. So now she has been there, I'm going to say maybe 40 years. I'm going to go ahead and say 40. Okay. So she was a supervisor. She retired, so-called, and then came back and then started acquiring more years working with the court. Okay. So this white woman has been violating dress code policy, where, they're talking about fragrances and smells and things like that. And I think this other white woman who's the HR is excusing her violating, okay? And it's saying things like, well, we have fragrance sensitivity, and they love to use words like this, fragrance sensitivity, and, people can get headaches, and which is true and everything, but I think it's one person, if I could just be honest, who is violating this fragrance and perfume, issue, and she has to keep getting write-ups, I think, with this issue. So she was upset, and a victim of racism said it wasn't like the way that I did at the meeting, because I've done this 2 times. This white woman wanted to ask about why she being targeted about fragrances and things like that. And the I guess attorney white woman wanted to just cut the meeting and saying, don't respond, don't say anything, and don't reply. So I'm not sure of how that might be going, but I want to mention that as well. So this white woman at the end of the meeting wanted to raise her hand and ask about that, but yet, see, she's violating. She does have these reoccurring issues with putting on too much of these perfumes and stuff. So it definitely don't seem like mistreatment to me. She's violating the policy. She's, putting on this perfume and then also wearing inappropriate outfits and attire. And I just think it was that white entitlement, in my opinion, where she wanted to just question some other white people, I guess, in charge, and that's what ended up happening. And the white woman still, if I could end with this, she still wanted to go up to her and say, oh, well, are you doing okay, and are you doing all right, and everything. And she still was valued and prioritized and everything. So I'll have to hear the updates from the victim on how this white woman is going to ask about this fragrance thing, and that's all I have to share. Thanks for allowing me to speak.
Much obliged, our caller at the courthouse. My sick white brother, simpatico with myself, who is unprofessional and doesn't know how to talk to people. He said he moved them to, well, I guess they got moved, he and his staff, they got moved to a more visible kind of office area. They said they might be getting audited. Is my memory bad? Does he do something like finance related, like payroll or something like that, budget related?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't really do that kind of job. He may be connected with someone else that'll do it, but he was pretty much just put in that position to where things like juvenile and different kinds of civil court cases and going to court hearings and things like that.
Oh, okay. I was in error. That is still serious. That's not exactly, I don't know, ordering paper towels for the courthouse. Like, that is serious. So even still, to have someone, I guess that's good for the folks who work at the courthouse that he does not do payroll or budget, but dang, that is still serious. And worthy of being audited if he is messing around and not being professional and doing his job. Let's see. The section he talked about, the white woman who has been there less than half the time as the non-white person, but she still gets promoted. That is standard operating procedure. I remember for a long time he said it was a black female. She had worked there for like 20 years and not been promoted. Now, I guess they could say, you know, she failed the drug test, or she comes in late, or she has a bad attitude, or whatever. But 20 years, like, she been there doing her thing and nothing, no promotion, nothing. Just sit over there and be quiet type of a thing. And I mean, this is standard operating procedure on the plantation. That's why I said I was trying to get that data. That way you can go in and ask, raise, all of that. Even the people, when they go to file suits, the limited times where they are successful, getting that sort of information about, oh, dang, she got promoted. She's only been working here for 5 years. These are some of them less than half. Like, you could have had, like the female that I just mentioned, she'd been working there like 20, 21 years. That means you got people, might have a white woman who's been working there like 6 years, and we're going to give her the promotion. Like, dang. And it's not like she's way more knowledgeable, way more qualified. He said some of these white people that are getting promoted, they're rude to the customers. Come on. We work at the courthouse. That's the whole point of this job, to serve the public. They just wasted all that money on that training he told us about. We got to be courteous when we get transgender patrons. You can't be assuming mister. You can't just be saying that. They did all of that. Why are we going to be promoting folks who are discourteous? Come on. He said and that sort of thing can drive you crazy too, especially, I think, regardless, even if you have a perfect understanding of white supremacy racism, that sort of thing can drive you crazy, seeing less qualified white people promoted and you're working hard and doing everything, and then you might even have to participate in training them and all the rest of it. Like, oh man, drive you insane. And I think it's even worse the less informed you are about white supremacy racism, where you might, take this personal, like I have some sort of personal deficiencies and, I need to study harder and dress better and get to work earlier and work harder and maybe do a little overtime, that sort of thing. Is, oh, this is system of racism. I see. The got the new warden, white male, stepping in place of the old white female warden, but the new warden, same role in making sure that white people are promoted, accommodated, even if they are mistreating customers, he has their back. And he said all of this cronyism that, could be nepotism, who knows, all of this racism, white supremacy, did prompt some of the non-white employees there to raise their voice, say something about these injustices, which he has done himself before and told us about. I've said consistently, that is black self-respect. Often it might be a safety issue. Violation of policy and procedure might be an explicit act of white supremacy racism. Got to speak up and do something. We might have different, and generally we do have different ways of thinking about what should be done with regards to countering racism in the workplace or any area of people activity. But something has to be said, done, to get this problem solved. It can't just be, man, that was messed up. At least we're going to go and make an attempt. I'm going to go ask a question, point out policy and procedure, something, to see if we can get this problem solved. See if I can get this raised, something. Very important. He talked about the folks getting, I just said, the white fella who unprofessional, doesn't know how to talk to people, that they're being audited. I am not surprised if he is an incompetent employee, even them being moved to a more public area. And he said that's his assessment. If he is incompetent, we do need to keep an eye on you, see what y'all up to, see what you working on today, all of that, while the staff is being trained, everything. I think, unless I misheard, I think he said that this incompetent race soldier, he's getting a new black employee. Man, I mean, I guess, unemployed non-white person, they got a job, they got a good state job, all right, right on, benefits, that's great, but dang, that is, I do not want to get hired and I get put on the team with the incompetent white man. Am I going to get blamed for all of his mistakes now? When he messes up, that was Leroy. He messed it up. Yeah, he messed me up on the man. And even beyond that, if everybody already knows that he's lame, and so we know it's not you, Leroy, we know it's him. Even still, I want to be in a position where I can learn. I can get a raise. I can advance my career. What I'm going to learn from this fight? This is what not to do. Might even take a while. I might not even know for a little while that, wait a minute, they didn't put me with this old incompetent. Man, always. And I don't know if this is a black dude or not. He said that he told us he was doing his study. They don't hire too many black males, so I really, really hope that this is not a black male who's going to get hired and then put in this kind of bad situation. He also said that there's a black manager getting a new white employee. I don't know if that's a balancing out type of a thing. He's told us about that before. That can be difficult down at the courthouse, having non-white males managing white subordinates, especially white women, where they go and grouse and complain, and he's being a savage taskmaster in the way he talked to us and all the rest of it. So hopefully they'll have a code and they'll be out in public. Maybe that can be to their aid. Maybe they'll be also out in a public place so that people can see what the black manager says to the new white employee, and maybe they can even say, hopefully he'll get a competent white person who will be there to practice justice, and that'll make his job a little bit easier. But hopefully they'll be out in public so everything will be seen, so it won't be any false accusations about he did this or said this or any other nonsense. That is wow. He said the Doge report about the dominant white culture and them being inculcated with some DEI. Do what? At the courthouse? What? Wow, they have been saying this all areas of people activity and across the land. So, I mean, that's not that surprising. But, like, if anything, that's why no talking about politics. That way they won't be accusing me. You're in here spreading your propaganda. Nope. Just talking about the work. So they won't be calling me unprofessional and not knowing how to talk to people. Nope. Just talking about the work, paying attention to these trainings and such. Being courteous to the customers. Speaking of being courteous, man, he has told us about it. I don't know if this is the same white woman, but I do know he had told us about the white female from before who she would, I guess, like make her own concoctions of perfumes or soaps and that sort of thing, and she would bring them in and, oh, here, honey, I tried the soap and I made that sort of thing, and it had some scent or whatever to it, and people were, that, hey, that's real strong. I don't like that odor. I don't know what that's, it's too much of it, and I can't deal with that. And she would keep doing it anyway, where they had, told her about this. She said, I don't care. I'm keep doing it. I'll keep, wearing it aggressive too and putting a whole bunch of it on. I don't know if it's the same person, but it seems like it could be multiple folks who, doing the exact same thing. I'm going to deliberately upset everybody and wear my perfume loud and aggressive and deliberately, maybe even apply a little bit extra when I come in, so you all get a nice good dose of it. That's another one, I would say, and that could end up being a safety issue because, like, some people do get because sometimes if it's so strong, people get headaches and all the rest of it. That could be a safety issue. Like, you have a serious job, TSA, and I have a headache. Now I can't focus. Even the courthouse, really. Now I can't focus. I can't do my job, correctly. We got to go in here and deliberate and all the rest of it. I would say something, and if I heard correctly, he said that she was the suspected race soldier here, so she worked 40 years, left, and then came back. So I'll assume this person is not 20. I could easily see they will, well, we can't be, Miss Johnson, she's 79 and, we just appreciate having her here, and she was here before the courthouse was even born, all the rest of it. And I could easily see that. That is not an excuse for violating policy and procedure. If it was Willie, wouldn't matter if he was 8 or 58. If he had to put on his homemade aftershave and it just, oh my God, it smells like rotting garbage, they would say something to Willie immediately, like, you can't wear your aftershave. I don't care. Don't you put that on, and blah, blah, blah. They would say something. It's same should apply, especially if it's that bad where folks saying they're getting headaches and all the rest of it. Like, hey, look here. We love having you here and all that and nostalgia, but just no perfume. Folks got, and some people, they got allergies and all the rest of it. Hey, no extra fragrances and all that jazz. And seeing that even encouraged too, because she coming in on that, it almost sounded like the Doge people. Hey, y'all are picking on me. Why are y'all in here messing with me about my fragrances? I'm a victim. That even going to say, I'm about 80 years old. Yeah, I'm coming in here to work and y'all going to... Thankfully, they said they don't even answer. We're going to codify. We'll deal with that later. But in my view, that emboldens other races, because I think he has told us, like, they got other white people who were doing the same thing with the fragrances, the same thing with wearing inappropriate attire in the courthouse, because I think they had, as many jobs do, they had specifics about, you're not supposed to wear leggings or provocative, put that in quotes, whatever. You're not supposed to wear provocative clothing. Oh, you're not supposed to wear the team paraphernalia, the basketball term and all that. Whatever, you're not supposed to do that. And they would have white people, they would violate the fragrances, and it would seem like they would violate the leggings and all that stuff too, the dress code. I'm going to wear my leggings. I dare you to come in here and tell me I can't wear my leggings. That sort of, willful defiance. Same thing I said about the work from home. I think we had some of that too at the courthouse. But all of that, I've just seen where that emboldens other white people, especially white women, because they say, oh man, they let, Miss Johnson, she came in here and cleared out the whole courthouse wearing her, homemade fragrances and everything. And she was wearing the leggings. Hey, summertime coming, I'm gonna wear my leggings too. You gonna let her wear leggings? I'm gonna wear leggings too. I've seen that repeat, and then you end up everybody now is wearing, or all the white women are now wearing leggings or whatever other, inappropriate. And it's the same thing. Nobody wants to say anything to them, whether they're, 79, 59, 39, doesn't matter. Nobody, I'm not going to say nothing to that white woman. And they just go and break all the rules that they want to. Come on. And I don't even know what, other than gossip, and I just need something to do with my free time. Like, Jesus, you worked here for 40 years? And you just can't stay away? Come on, man. It's got to be something. You don't have no grandchildren? You don't have no pets? You don't have no garden? You're in Florida. You can go see Mickey Mouse, man. I'm going to come hang out at the courthouse. The clique is my family. Come on. Come on, and you can come up here and get on our nerves. You can't come up here and peacefully coexist in the courthouse. You can come up here and get on our nerves and then accuse us of victimizing you. Anywho,
after 40 years.
You said for 40 years?
After 40 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I personally, if my recommendation, you ever get an opportunity to work a job for 40 years, it is rocking chair time. Even if you have like your dream job, this is a job that I always wanted and all that, you did it. There cannot be anything left to accomplish at 40 years unless you're hooking up the next generation, your grandson, your granddaughter works there. You got a niece that works there. It's some, young non-white people, and they just want to can we be a little sponge and absorb some of that knowledge that you got all those for it? Unless it's that sort of thing. If you're just coming to hang out, be a troublemaker, start up, get involved in some gossip, come on, man. Go sit down. We don't even need nothing. You're just taking up space and giving out headaches, man. Come on, do something constructive with your and he talked about that where they have a number of these you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think every time that he has told us, it's been someone classified as white who has worked at the courthouse like almost a half century. And they got to come out and, hi, I just want to get and all that old nonsense. Come on. I don't remember Mr. Fuller. He said he worked at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing for about 30 years. I don't remember him saying nothing about he retired and I just had to go back. He still lived in D.C. I don't remember him saying nothing. I had to go back and I just had to have one more lunch with my homies and I had to see Pat one more time and just give him one. I don't remember none of that. Maybe I missed out. I didn't hear every single lecture that he gave on his years on the planet, but I don't remember that at all. I'd be shocked if I heard such as like deuces, especially if you're classified as black in a system of racism. When it's all over, it is all over. If you got some people that you're cool with, you all had a great rapport, get their number. We can meet elsewhere. You spent your whole work career trying to get out of that place. I'm going to come back here voluntarily? Or I'm going to come back here and ask to work again at 80? Come on. Come on. That, in my view, that even, you are telling me something about what it means to be white. Like, this is my whole idea. You don't want to go hang out with your grandchildren? You don't want to, it's Florida, man. They almost got a 12-month growth, especially now with climate change. They almost got a 12-month growth cycle. You could have your veggie garden. Cucumbers, zucchini, garlic, green onions. You could be doing it up, man. No, hang out at the court. Like, come on. What does it, the warden, he got the names that, What does it mean to be white? Anyway, let me know if any of the black people, because there are black people who work at the courthouse, his mom and everything, let me know when your mom, if we still exist, when your mom retires from the courthouse, let us know. She take a month, 2 months, a year. Man, I ain't seen old Jimmy and all the, I got to go. I'm going to make a sweet potato pie. You let us know. Well, I guess you're there, so that might be a little, she could just see you anytime, though. So you let us know if she retires, if she has to come back and wave and bring lunch and hang out for a day just for giggles after she retires. Let us know if that happens with your mother.
She already retired last July, Gus.
Oh, right on. Congratulations. Has she been back to visit?
She has not been back.
Come on.
Ain't going back either.
Come on.
Ain't going back either.
Come on. Come on.
They can't pay me to go back.
Facts. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Gene, I'm gonna go back and hang out for her. I didn't want to stay. She didn't want to stay, and you didn't want to stay when they paid. Why am I gonna go back and hang out for free?
That part.
Yes.
I love it. Logic. That's all we need. Logic. That's it, ma'am. That's the best part of the show right there. That's the best part of the show. Come on. I'm going to just go and hang out at the old job. I just miss seeing y'all. I just want to sit around. But come on. After 40, I'm good. Congratulations, ma'am. I'm so thankful that you got to retire and kick your feet up. Good riddance to all of them. Kick your feet up and enjoy it.
Thank you so much, because I say I can wake up, but I ain't got to get up.
Amen. Enjoy. See, she can do the garden. She can do everything I just said. She can get her garden together, paint her toenails, wait and hang out for her son, all that good stuff. Thank you so much, man. Genius. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. Am I going to go hang out here for free? No. Come on. Any hoodles. Man, got bonus. We got the bonus. Caller at the courthouse and retired mommy joining us to give brilliant, flawless, counter-racist logic. Brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing. Continue, enjoy your retirement, ma'am, and woo, man. Or I guess whenever you retire, hopefully it'll be a long time from now. Maybe we'll have produced justice. You can let us know as well if you intend to go back and kick it with your Yes, ma'am. You can let us know if you intend to come back and kick it once you retire. Wait, many years down the road, hopefully. Or I would retract that. Maybe we'll get on our grind and you can figure out something else. You can hit the lottery or something, and yeah, you won't have to. You can retire early and do counter-racist work.
That's coming.
Hey. Woo, man, I am overjoyed. We got a great bonus. Got to hear from mommy. Always great to hear from mommy. Mom's super important. Moms are super important. So glad we got to hear from her, enjoying her retirement plan. I do not think we missed anyone. I don't think we had anybody. *61. Let us know. Again, let us know how the gas situation is impacting your work. That could be lots of things. That could be your job specifically. If you're in your vehicle, that for all of us, that could be the transportation to actually get to your job, the commute portion of it. Let us know how the petro situation is impacting labor for you. You can drop us an email, untiljustice@gmail.com, and or give us a jingle when we pop up this time next week. We will do it up for the Catherine Massey Book Club tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and then the compensatory call-in on Saturday, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Hopefully worthy of folks' time and energy. If you are fortunate enough, our caller at the courthouse, to be able to retire like his mother, to be able to retire, enjoy your senior years, as you heard, the geniuses do it correctly. We do not go back to the job to loiter. Like, she said, couldn't pay me to go back. Thank you. What's it? Work on writing your memoir. That's why I say you get to retire. Hey, all the racism that you experienced and all of that, woo, we would love to. Even our young lady who retired would love it, because she could tell some stories, I bet, from the courthouse. Like, woo, memoirs. Anyway, we'll be here tomorrow. Much obliged for folks tuning in. Hopefully worthy of your time and energy. Time and energy. Can't say that enough. Sobriety would be best. We need high-functioning brain computers so we can make great decisions to help us stay safe and help us solve the problem. Replacing white supremacy with justice. Creator, remind us, stop saying not all white people are racist. Remind us, stop name-calling people classified as black. Black mommies are important. Best moment of the broadcast, easily. Context of White Supremacy signing out. Thanks all for tuning in.
Nigga, you so brainwashed. I'm a victim, brother. No problem. You're a victim. I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning. Shut up. The man has programmed my conditioning. Even my conditioning has been conditioned.